Hello, third grade. So we are ready for part 2 of our module 8, lesson 4. So remember, we were solving two-step problems, and the lesson was kind of a long one, right? Because we're doing 2 steps for each problem. So now we're moving on to the on your own section. So we're going to be doing these problems. We are going to skip problem number 8, just so you know. And then everything else looks good. So we're going to be doing the next problems. If you do need a separate sheet of paper, that is fine. That might be helpful to have to solve the problems. But we're going to be writing the equations right on the lines and then solving. And there is a little bit of white space that we should be able to use to solve the problems. But if you do need more space, please get a separate sheet of paper so that way you can do the work, if that helps you. All right, so we are on the on your own section, number 2. So we have Lonnie, and she or he, she checks out 6 sets of books from the library. Each set has the same number of books. She reads 7 of the books, and she has 11 books left to read. How many books are in each set? So we don't know how many are in each set, but we do know that there are 6 sets of books. We do know that she read 7 of the books and that she has 11 books left to read. So the first thing we do is we need to figure out, well, how many total books did she have altogether? And then we'll be able to figure out how many are in each set. So our first step is to figure out how many total books does she have. So since she has 11 left and she's read 7, we could put these two together, right? We could put these two numbers together to figure out how many total books that she has had when she started before she read any. So since she has 11 left to read and she's already read 7 of them, this will give us how many books total were in the sets. And we should be able to take that answer to figure out how many are in each set. So this is going to tell me how many books she has total. So 11 plus 7, and we're going to assign a letter B, right? We're going to give it a letter. So 11 plus 7 is 18. So B equals 18 books. Now that's how many total books she checked out of the library. But they're in sets. They're in sets of 3. So she had 18 total books, but they're in sets, 6 sets. So she got 6 sets. So we're going to need to divide. So 18 divided by 6 equals, we use an S for how many are in each set. 18 divided by 6 equals, well, what number times 6 equals 18? That would be 3. So there are 3 books in each set. Kind of gave that away. Sorry about that. I was jumping ahead of myself. So we had to first add, then we had to divide. Those were our 2 steps. So our first step, right? And then our second step. All right. Let's look at Sal. Sal's got some yarn. And he cuts a piece of yarn for a project into 3 equal length pieces, sorry. Then he cuts 5 inches off one of the pieces, leaving 4 inches of yarn. What was the length of the original piece of yarn? So we need to know how much he had to begin with. How much did he have to start with? So the first thing, let's look and see what he did. So Sal cuts a piece of yarn for a project into 3 equal length pieces. So each piece that he cut was 3 equal lengths. Then he cut 5 inches off of one of those pieces, and it left 4 inches of yarn. So what do I need to find out first? What's going to be my first step? Well, I know that there are 3 equal lengths, but I don't know how much each length is. How can I figure out how much each length is? Well, he had a piece of the yarn that he cut 5 inches off of. And after he cut the 5 inches off of it, there were 4 inches left. So this is one of the pieces, right? 5 inches and 4 inches equals one of the pieces. He cut 5 inches off of one of the pieces, and there's 4 inches left. So we could add 4 plus 5, and that would give us how much just one of the yarn, one piece of the yarn is. So 4 plus 5 equals Y. Oh, actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to change that to P, because that's going to tell me one piece, right? So then P equals, well, 4 plus 5 is 9. My second step, now I know how much each piece is, right? Because this is how much one piece is. It would be 9 inches is one piece, right? But there are 3 equal length pieces. So each of these pieces is 9 inches. So that means we're going to have to do 3 times 9 equals, and there's my Y. How much yarn did he have, the original piece of yarn? 3 times 9 equals 27. So the original piece of yarn was 27 inches before he did all that cutting. Before he cut it all up, made pieces out of it. I wonder what he's making with all that yarn. I don't know. Okay. Sometimes I wonder those things when we read these problems. I'm like, I wonder what he's even making. Those are kind of small pieces. Okay. At the lake, Jansen can rent a canoe for $5 each hour plus a one-time fee of $7. He rents a canoe for 3 hours. How much does it cost Jansen to rent the canoe? So each hour, it's going to cost $5. And we know he's renting it for 3 hours. But there's an extra fee. Like sometimes they do like a rental fee, like just in case there's damage. Like this is to use it. And this is to make sure that no damage happens, right? So there's a one-time fee of $7. So what do you think first we need to do? Well, I think first we need to figure out how much it costs for the hours that he's riding, right? The hours that he's using the canoe. He uses the canoe for 3 hours, and it's $5 for each hour. So we need to do some multiplication because each hour is $5. So $5 and $5 and $5, right? So there's 3 of them. So we need to multiply. So 3 times 5 equals, and this is going to be how much it costs for him to rent the canoe at first, right? Just for the time that he's riding it. So 3 times 5 equals, well, it's going to be $15. That's how much it costs for the hours he's riding it. Plus, there's the one-time fee. So I need to take how much it costs for the hours plus the one-time fee. So this is going to be an addition problem. 15 plus 7. We'll use C for canoe. So 15 plus 7, I'm going to do that down here because I know I've got to regroup. 5 plus 7 is 12. Regroup a 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So it was $22 to rent the canoe. It cost him $15 total for the hours plus the $7 one-time fee just to be able to rent it. Alrighty, number 5. Jason has $30 to buy books. His aunt gives him $10 more. If each book that he wants costs $8, how many books can Jason buy? Well, Jason starts with $30. Then his aunt gives him $10. And each book is $8. So first we need to figure out how much total money does Jason even have? How much does he have to spend? So Jason has $30 plus $10 to spend, right? So Jason has 30 plus 10. Jason starts with $40. And each book is $8. So we need to figure out how many books he could buy. So we're going to need to divide, right, our 40 into 8, right, 8 groups to figure out how many books he's able to buy. So our second step is 40 divided by 8 equals, and I'm going to do B for books. 40 divided by 8. What times 8 equals 40? 5. So he can buy 5 total books with the money that he has. He must not be getting his books through Scholastic, because there are $5 books in Scholastic. Sorry, I digress. Number 6, Beth pays a total of $20 to rent skis and go ice skating for 2 hours. So altogether, she's paying $20. If the cost of the skate rental is $6, what is the cost for each hour of ice skating? So this is similar to the canoe problem, but we're going to do it kind of in reverse. We had to find out the total cost. For this one, we know how much she spent, and we need to figure out how much it is per hour. So if Beth pays $20 to rent skates, she's skating for 2 hours, and $6 is the skate rental. First, we need to figure out, well, how much did she have after she paid the skate rental, which will determine how much it is per hour. So we're going to have to subtract first. So 20 minus 6, right? We need to take her total amount minus the skate rental fee. So 20 minus 6, do some regrouping here. 10 minus 6 is 4. 1 minus nothing is 1. So it would be, oops, sorry, I forgot my letter. I forgot to put my letter here. We'll do S here. So S equals, we said $14. So that's how much the difference is between, the skate rental, right, and what she paid. So now we know that just the ice skating itself for the 2 hours is $14 total. But we want to know how much it is per hour. So she skated for 2 hours, so we're going to need to do 14 divided by 2, right? Because we need to figure out how much it is for just 1 hour. So 14 divided by 2 equals H for hours. 14 divided by 2 equals 7. So it was $7 per hour. $7 per hour to skate with a $6 rental fee. Number 7. Sean scores 21 points during a basketball game. One of his baskets is a 3-point shot. He scores the rest of his points with 2-point baskets. How many 2-point baskets does Sean score during the game? So we can see that Sean scored a total of 21 points. Just one of the baskets was a 3-pointer. And the rest of the baskets were 2-pointers. And we need to know how many 2-point baskets Sean scores during the game. So, if he only scores one 3-point shot, that means that we can take that 3-point shot out of there, and then the rest would be all the 2-pointers, right? And then we could do some division to figure out how many are 2-pointers. So, our first step is to figure out, well, how much are just the 2-pointers by themselves? So, we're going to take 21 minus 3 equals P. So 21 minus 3, do some regrouping. 11 minus 3 is 8. 1. So there are 18 total points scored that are 2-pointers. But we need to figure out how many were 2-pointers, because 18 is the total points. So if each basket is a 2-point basket, we're going to do 18 divided by 2. 18 divided by 2 equals B for baskets, because we want to know how many 2-point baskets he solved. 18 divided by 2 equals 9. So there are 9 2-point baskets that he scored. All right, on to our last page and our last few problems. So again, we're still doing 2-step problems. So we have Mr. Ed. I don't know, you're probably too young to know who Mr. Ed was. Mr. Ed was a talking horse. I'm showing my age, how old I am. But I don't think Mr. Ed the horse was driving a school bus. So this is a different Mr. Ed, I'm sure. Mr. Ed's school bus route has 8 stops. The same number of students is waiting at each stop. So far, he has picked up 20 students. There are 12 students waiting to be picked up. How many students are at each bus stop? So we know that there are 8 stops. He's picked up 20 students so far. And there are 12 students that have not been picked up yet. They're waiting to be picked up. We need to figure out how many students are at each bus stop. So if we know that he's picked up 20 students and there are still 12 students that need to be picked up, if we were to put those two groups together, that would tell us the total number of students that he picks up on his route, right? So our first step is to figure out how many total students there are. So we have 20 students plus 12 students, and that's going to give us the total that are on the whole bus route total. So 20 plus 12 equals 32. So there are 32 total students that ride this bus, that get picked up. Now we need to figure out how many students are at each stop if the same number of students are waiting at each stop. Well, there are how many stops? There are 8 stops. So if we have a total of 32 students that get picked up for the bus, divided by a total of 8 stops, how many students are at each stop? So 32 divided by 8. 32 divided by 8 equals 4. There are 4 students at each stop. This is when knowing those multiplication and division facts is going to be huge. So really working on that really hard, getting that green light every day is super duper 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 important. Number 10, Xavier watches an old TV show by streaming it on a computer. The show had 5 seasons. Xavier has watched 7 episodes. He has 43 more episodes to watch. If each season has the same number of episodes, how many episodes does each season have? So the show has 5 seasons. He's only watched 7 episodes so far. And there's 43 more left to watch. 43 he hasn't watched yet. So we need to know how many episodes are in each season. So our first step is to figure out how many total episodes there are altogether, because we know he's watched 7 and there's still 43 more to go. So we need to figure out the total of episodes in all the seasons together. So 43 plus 7. And that's going to tell us the total, right? The total of all the seasons. So 43 plus 7 is 50. So there are 50 total episodes in the entire series of the season. But there are 5 seasons of this show. So we know that there are a total of 50 episodes, and we need to divide it by the number of seasons to give us how many episodes are in each season. So 50 divided by 5 equals, I hope you're thinking 10. So there are 10 episodes per season in each season. All right, 2 left. Number 11. Jamie's plant grows 3 inches each week for 3 weeks. During the 4th week, it grows 5 inches. How many inches does Jamie's plant grow over the 4 weeks? So Jamie's plant grows 3 inches each week. Every week, her plant is growing. And it grows 3 inches each week for 3 weeks. During the 4th week, though, it grows 5 inches. How many inches does Jamie's plant grow over the 4 total weeks? So our first step is to figure out how much it grew during the first 3 weeks. So it grew 3 inches every week for 3 weeks. So 3 inches by 3 weeks. And that's going to give us our first, how many inches were grown in that first bunch of time. So 3 times 3 equals 9. So this is 9 inches just for the first 3 weeks. Now we need to know how much it grows total. Well, it had kind of a big growth spurt, right? In the 4th week, it grew 5 inches. So if we have 9 inches after the first 3 weeks, plus 5 inches after the 4th week, how many total inches did it grow in 4 weeks? 9 plus 5 is 14 total inches in the 4 weeks. All right, and number 12. Last problem. Natasha buys 2 bunches of tulips. Each bunch of tulip has the same number of tulips. She puts the tulips in a vase with 5 roses. There are now 17 flowers in the vase. How many tulips are in each bunch? So she buys 2 bunches. So there's 2 things of tulips. Each one has the same number of tulips. So she puts the tulips in a vase with 5 roses. And there are now 17 flowers in the vase. So this is telling me that flowers means roses and tulips. So if there are 17 flowers in the vase, and that includes 5 roses, we need to figure out how many tulips are in the vase without the roses. We need to take those roses out to figure out how many just tulips there are before we can figure out how many are in each bunch. So our first step is to subtract 17 minus 5, and that's going to give us how many tulips, right, are in the vase. So 17 minus 5 equals 12. So that's how many tulips are in the vase altogether. But she bought 2 bunches, right? The 12 is in the 2 bunches. So we need to figure out how many are in just one bunch, right? How many, if we were to separate these into 2 groups, how many would be in each group? So we would need to divide 12 divided by 2 equals, and that's going to tell us how many are in each bunch. 12 divided by 2 equals, what times 2 equals 12? 6. So there are 6 tulips in each bunch. Alrighty, so that was quite a hefty lesson. I do want you to do the independent work. There's only 9 questions, so it's not quite as rough as this as far as how many questions you had to solve, but this was so that we could do lots and lots of practice so it wouldn't be so difficult. So please complete lesson 8.4, the black and white worksheet, the front and the back of it, and that starts on page 85. And when you are finished, the front and the back, please either take a picture of it and send it to me and email it to me or attach it to this lesson, or drop it off to me at school so that I can grade it. Okay? Alrighty. I'm just going to give you this one lesson for right now because it's kind of a heavy one. Okay? Alright. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.